We just made it to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Welcome back to Millers in Motion. We are still on the Today is Someday cruise with our friends Phil and Stacy and Howard and Kaitlyn from Newstate Nomads. We had a blast yesterday in port and in the last video for you guys. Today we're in Puerto Vallarta. So Puerto Vallarta I've been to before. Now I came on a scouting trip for a travel thing I was working on back in 2020. So I'm excited to not only see it again, but also share it with Lauren a little bit, because this is one of the few places we actually went and explored some of the local places in downtown when I was on that trip. So we're going to go run a quick errand and then we're going to head down to an area called the Malecón, or the Boardwalk, and just wander around and kind of see what we can see. So we don't have an actual excursion plan today, which will make it interesting, the difference between yesterday's food tour that you guys saw in the first video versus today, where we're going to kind of do our own thing. We have officially made it off of the ship. We have had 3 different styles of ports on this trip, which is unique.
This is my favorite.
This is our favorite. So the first one in Cabo, and we talked about this briefly in the last video, was a tender port.
That is not my favorite.
No, it works sometimes.
Sometimes. It didn't that day.
Well, for us it didn't that day. It did work for some people, but not us. Then you have the unique one that was yesterday, and I've never done one like this before.
Right.
Where it was a dock, but the dock was also a cargo dock, and so they wouldn't let you just walk off. And they had to get on a little shuttle and then go. But they had it down to a science, and it was pretty efficient. So, and then you have this one, which is your most traditional, which is the one we love. It's just walk off and ta-da, you're here.
And ta-da, you're here. And isn't that boat pretty? I know it's a ship. Isn't the ship pretty?
I'm on a boat every time. Lonely Island.
I'm on a boat. I'm on a boat. Everybody look at me, because I'm sailing on a boat.
It pops in my head. Flip-it-flop-it.
Every ship is a boat, but not every boat is a ship. Okay.
Okay, let's go explore Puerto Vallarta now. So we had to stop and get some iced lattes, technically, or iced coffee, and then Lauren saw pan de chocolate, chocolate croissant. First of all, it's cold, which is amazing because it's a little toasty here, but apparently this is pretty good. As you can see, there's a piece missing already. Wonder what happened there.
You said you'd only take one bite. I'd like to see you stick to that.
Oh, holy hell.
Remember, one bite.
They're really, it's almost a creamy chocolate, like the Nutella, which is nice. Normally they just stick like a piece of chocolate in there and then it melts a little bit and then re-dries. That's like staying creamy, which is really good. So we got all this from a place called Puerto Café, which is we're on the Malecón right now. It's literally one street in, closer to the north side, but we'll link, like we always do, everything down below. But we're gonna enjoy these and the coffees with that view. So we are currently heading back behind the Malecón for a second because Lauren found a glass shop, and we're constantly looking for things now to decorate and do everything in the new house with. So we're going to check that out and see if we can't find a little something and hope it makes it back in one piece if we buy anything. We ended up getting a really cool serving platter tray thing that was handmade, really cool looking, and they wrapped it like it's nobody's business, so we'll show you at some point.
So we just ordered the spicy jalapeno ranchero margarita. It made a couple of the food tours for being one of the best ones, so we're really excited. But based on how the original margarita was, this is going to be perfect.
What she means is they're a wee bit strong.
So we stopped after Margaritas, of course, for tacos at Tacos Kunana, and Kunano to be specific. They were recommended not only by the bartender at Bar La Playa, but also by some of the food tour critics. So I will say they did not disappoint. Now they had carne asada and 2 pork options. They did not have a chicken option today, but the quesadilla was also delicious.
So with that and lunch being done, it's about time to start heading back to the ship so we get on in time so it doesn't accidentally leave us. So we're going to wander back on the Malecón a little bit until we decide to get an Uber. Lauren has one other shop that was recommended to us from our friends Howard and Kaitlyn over at Newstate Nomads. So we're going to maybe stop there, pretty much head back to the ship. And that's going to do it for our time in Puerto Vallarta. This is by far one of my favorite towns in Mexico. You get a little bit of coastal, you get a little bit of jungle in the back. We barely scratched the surface on this, and I mean barely. So we are getting back on board our ship. Also, we ran into the rest of our group. So, but hope you had fun. We had fun bringing it to you. We'll see you in the morning. Good morning from our last at sea day. So a couple of things that are going on today. One, we have what's called a service event with Phil and Stacy and the Someday crew where, well, I'll let them explain in a second. But the other thing that's going to happen is we need to pack. And I will talk about how we kind of do all of that briefly. But in a nutshell, if you're going to, there's 2 options. You can walk your bags off by yourself, which depending on the amount of bags is either fine or not fine. Or 2, you can check them and they'll be taken off the ship for you and you collect them way closer to where you would like pick up your Uber or ride or however you coordinated transport to where you're going next, whether it be airport, home, that kind of stuff. So the packing portion is never fun because it's kind of chaos in the room. Well, my stuff's chaos. Lauren's stuff is not as much. She stays organized. I'm bad about it. So let's head to the service event. Also, for the first time, I'm actually wearing my name badge. I'm bad about that. Mine's bigger. I'm committing.
And the lanyards are what our military used to do everything from making tents to tying things down to hanging up IV bags and trees. They use them numerous ways, and it's very helpful for us to send them over so they can have as many as they need connected, hooked on, and pockets on pockets, whatever. So that's the activity we're doing today. It's going to actually go by pretty quickly. It doesn't take that long to tie. It's not tie the lanyard.
Well, I remember the last group. I think somebody tied themselves to their chair accidentally.
That was drinks around the campfire.
Yeah, and
that was cocktails. We're doing coffee, so it should be a little bit.
this one should go just fine. So we'll pass out the lanyards, and then we will show you kind of how it goes. Go.
This is the actual definition of wrangling cats. All good things must come to an end.
Very true.
That is going to do it for our time on the Norwegian Bliss. Before you click off, just know, next week I'm going to take you around the entire ship. I'm going to tell you kind of some of the things that are difference between our 2018 cruise to now, but this is also our last evening on board.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of your thoughts on the cruise, on the group, and all of the things?
The ship is like I remember it, and I loved it. My favorite port was Puerto Vallarta.
Yes.
And I will go back to there. And I learned on this one, we've done several cruises, and I learned something each time. And this time I learned if you have a tender port, do get an excursion so you can get off the boat.
With the cruise line. With the cruise line. That's the important part.
Line. Yes, it is.
Yeah, tender ports aren't my favorite. We've said that a couple times now. Obviously, anything you can do on a dock is preferred.
Right. So, but that's a tip for those ports.
Yeah. Would you do another group cruise?
I would do another group cruise. I like a more intimate group. And so I'm not sure about a very, very large group, but
Right.
I do. Seeing everybody was nice to be able to go do that, have a drink with them or a meal or something, and then kind of go do our own thing as well.
And that's a good point to say right now that we are super thankful of Phil and Stacy from Today is Someday for not only putting together this group cruise, but giving us a heads up as they got ready to sell it so we can come hang out. And then also our friends Howard and Kaitlyn from Newstate Nomads, who were a blast to hang out with and share a wall with because they were our neighbors the whole time. So. All right. With that being said, we'll see you next week where we have to get back to the house, get that situated, and get finally moved into the RV.
Lots of things.
Actually, tour, then all of that. So, thank you so much for watching. If it's your first time here, please do us a favor, hit the subscribe button, lets us know you're watching, and hit the like button.
All right.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.